So we arrived here in 2009 and not really knowing what we're going to come out to. And so the beginning was a big learning curve of settling as a family first and trying to make life work. So moving from Ealing in London out to Maasai land meant we had to work out how to live in a remote area. So we had to start growing our own food. We had to solve our power issues. We started on very little solar, and so invested in solar panels. We invested in satellite internet in order to communicate with the outside world, as we don't have any mobile phone connection. So the first, I would say, here was pretty challenging, and we walked into a very difficult situation with the organization we joined. We ventured into developing a school almost by accident. We've got 3 children, and we all came out with a view of homeschooling and soon found out how difficult that is. The children wanted to go to school, wanted friends, so we heard of this little local school, and so we decided to join it. And we put our eldest 2 in the school, and as parents then we felt we had to get involved with what the Maasai parents were doing, because they started the school, we didn't. And so the Maasai Academy developed out of our relationship with the other parents and the school, and our efforts to try and bring quality education to this remote community. And alongside that, we were managing a medical program which started years before we arrived, and I just came to basically help manage this program and develop it with a group of doctors in the UK. Becca applied her artistic skills to designing beadwork, and it started with just one Maasai lady and one design and a handful of beads, and that grew into the project we have today, which employs about 20 women and export beadwork all around. And that project helps fund the school and helps to make what we are doing sustainable. Well, we're working with the local community leaders, and it's looking at what does this community need in order to adapt to the change that they face. And there's a lot of change coming. They've been cut off from the outside world. Their education system primarily focused on being educated as a Maasai and how the life as a Maasai work, not an education that would help them find work in Kenya or just manage their changing environment. So we are looking at water projects, because our medical program shows us this waterborne disease in several villages. So we're bringing water to villages in order to eradicate waterborne disease. We are looking at lower respiratory disease and how to eradicate that, and we think that's got to do with the smoky Maasai huts. We are focusing on agriculture because the community is growing. Their staple diet is maize and beans, and not very nutritious, so we are trying to add to this by growing more food, especially for the Maasai Academy. So we're providing 2 meals a day now for 170 children, and we are trying to expand that. Yeah, it's a slow relationship with the community elders and the community at large, and looking at how we can help them develop with a specific aim of bringing God's kingdom here, of seeing how does God's kingdom break into a traditional community. How do you keep the culture, the good things about the culture? How do you empower people? How do you bring the good news to a community that are really in need of good news and who are also very open to it. I think our greatest need is to stay close to God in a place where you have to dig your own well spiritually. You have to you have to stay close to God in order to do this work. There's so many challenges on a day-to-day basis. It is coping with a family that's growing, 2 children at boarding school, the 3rd one going. That's quite difficult. It is to keep in touch with the outside world that's running so fast, and people that live different lives elsewhere, and trying to make what you are doing tangible, to involve other people to partner with us, to increase funding for us personally in order to send our children to school and to live out here, raise funding for water projects, medical program, developing the school, agriculture. All of those things is a work in progress. So it always feel like you're in need, but you always see how God comes through. So our primary need is to stay close to God, and for people to encourage us in that, that we seek Him daily, that we press into Him. And our daily Bible study with a growing staff is fantastic. It's really pushing us to press into God. We've grown from just a few staff members to 36 permanent staff members now, and we do a daily Bible study with them, and that helps a lot.